Hello, you're listening to Food Rebels, and this is our Christmas special. I am your host, AJ Sharp. As you know, Food Rebels is the podcast that brings you brand stories, live on-air tastings, and we really like to hear about people on the more rebellious side of the food world. We celebrate the people who've challenged the status quo. So, hello and welcome back, and we are rapidly approaching Christmas now. We are really privileged to have the very well-respected chef, Calum Franklin. He is a pie-making legend, from what I could work out. Hello, Calum.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Can you tell me a little bit about you?
Sure. So I'm an author, chef, creator of a place called The Pie Room, a restaurant that I opened 10 years ago, Holborn Dining Room. I've recently just left, actually, to do a new project. But I also work with a wonderful company called Dickinson and Morris on developing pies, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. But yeah, probably best known for the Pie Room cookbook as well.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, I saw that on the internet. That looks really cool. So Dickinson and Morris, we have the lovely Katie Curtis here. Katie, what do you do at Dickinson and Morris?
I look after all the product development side of Dickinson and Morris, all the new products.
So you are the creative brains behind all of the products that come out?
Myself and alongside a team of chefs back at the bakery, yeah.
Brilliant. And Dickinson and Morris, for people who don't know it, can you tell me a little bit about the company? What does it do?
So we make pork pies. I've been in Melton Mowbray for many, many years now, where our bakery is situated just outside.
Is that the really famous one with the sort of red packaging, blue? Is that the same one?
Yeah. Lovely hand crimped pie made with our hot watercress pastry. Yeah, and we've got a shop in Melton Mowbray that's been producing pies for many, many years.
Cool.
Is it the oldest pie shop?
I believe it is the oldest pie shop. Yeah.
I saw that because Melton Mowbray is like the home, isn't it? It's the heartland of the pie eater. This is where you go when you are like, I love a pie.
It's also the home of the British Pie Awards.
Is it?
Yeah.
Amazing. Have you entered those, Callum? I feel like you must have done at some point.
Do you know what? I've not.
No,
Well,
you're joking.
well,
You're the pie man.
We have together, collaboratively, we've entered, so we've designed pies together. But I would very much put that on Katie and her team. Like they do, the incredible work, the main body of work that goes into that sort of pie, and then the awards that are won are theirs. I just give sort of some weird madcap ideas at the beginning.
Excellent. So you two work together to create different types of products. You with your chef knowledge and you with kind of creative just ideas and all that kind of stuff in it. Throw it all in a big pot and pop out with some pies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a really nice sort of relationship, and it was born out of at the Pie Room, which was this like Victorian kitchen we built in Holborn. I met some of the team from Dickinson and Morris, and they said, we'd love to come and spend a bit of time with you and work. And I said to them, well, to be honest with you, actually, I wanted to do the same with you because they were the oldest pie company in the UK. And for me, they embodied the sort of craftsmanship of pie making, which was being lost slightly and had been lost since, industrialisation and World War II. As we sort of lost that craftsmanship and handwork of food. But Dickinson and Morris was still flying the flag of that. And on a massive scale, it was insane. I couldn't believe how they could produce so many pies and for them to still look so beautiful and not look machine made.
They're not machine made, are they? My understanding.
There's a tiny bit in the process, but there's still lots of handwork that goes into it, right? Much more than you would find anywhere else, really. And for me, I was like, okay, that's why I want to work with you guys. I want to understand how you do that. And that was where we all sort of came together as one, which was great.
Incredible. And as this is the Christmas special, you have brought in, I don't know if I'm going to say the name right, but this sort of incredibly beautiful, celebratory Christmas festive pie. Is that what it's called?
Pretty good.
Have I got it right?
The festive showstopper.
The festive showstopper.
Okay.
And I nearly stopped my own show there trying to say that. And it looks absolutely beautiful. It's got sort of twisted rope lattice work. I don't know how you describe it on top. Can you describe it for me, please, Katie?
So it's actually designed to look a little bit like a present. So it's got a little bit of rope and ribbon around it. So yeah, this was born from one of Calum's little sketches that he sent us. And we were going on the theme of presents, weren't we?
Yeah.
This year, and we had lots of different designs. So yeah, so from that concept, it's how we can get it to work in our bakery.
And when you two sat down and went, let's make a festive showstopper, when was the moment over Christmas that you were like, this is where we're going to have it?
We did a lot. There was a lot of sketches that went backwards and forwards. So the process to do something like this is a long process. So how long would you say? 6 months?
Yeah, I mean,
Around 6.
we need to get thinking for next year.
I think I started drawing. No, actually, I remember drawing pies in Dublin in October last year.
Yeah.
Excellent.
For this project, right? So that was when we first started thinking about ideas. And the present thing came from, it was like, the pastry is so delicious that Dickinson and Morris do, and it is beautiful. But I love the idea of like, it's also like the inside counts so much.
Yeah,
right?
it
Counts
really
so
does.
much. So with doing like a present, it was like, we wanted to have a bow on it. So it looks like you could undo the pastry bow and then have a look inside at this beautiful sort of meat pie. Yeah, I think I sent over some.
It's beautiful.
But I sent over some drawings to Kate and the team, and they were just like, "Wow, okay, let's work out how to do this." And that's how they always amaze me, because they always work out how to do it, and it's very cool.
That's excellent. I mean, to me, this feels like it would really up-level either your Christmas Eve or your Boxing Day hugely, because it's this sort of this. I mean, it's a giant pork pie. How many does this serve?
You'd easily get a good 10 or 12 out of this.
Yeah,
one.
like 10 hungry
Yeah,
men.
it's over a kilo in weight.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And I've got this huge hunk in front of me, which I cannot wait to get stuck into. So was it designed for Boxing Day table in mind, or have I just invented that?
No, definitely. I mean, actually, like kind of like all the way through Christmas, I think, right? So it could be Christmas Eve, could be Christmas Day, could be Boxing Day, but the whole point is exactly what you said, which is it's a showpiece, right? It's something that sits in the center of the table and takes a bit of pressure off you at Christmas.
Yeah, agree.
Right? Those little things that you can kind of pop onto tables and everyone just gets tucked into them. Yeah, I do it at weddings sometimes. We do these like pie wedding cake things, big ones.
Yeah.
And people always say that, you know, it takes, everyone can just slowly tuck into those things. And it's the same on Christmas Day or Boxing Day. It's stuff that people can nibble at or have a slice when they've had a few too many brandies already, you know, and settle themselves. It's a nice way to sort of eat at Christmas.
And it's got all the flavours of Christmas, hasn't it?
Yes, exactly. Do you want to go through them?
Yeah, we've got outdoor bred British pork. We've got some chicken. We've got some orange in there. We've got some chestnuts. We've got cranberries.
I've got to start tasting it.
So I've actually infused the cranberries in some port, and then surrounding the outside of it is a really rich cranberry and port jelly, really fruity.
That's the thing that strikes you as you cut into it and you pull it out. The jelly that's normally that clear jelly that you get is bright red, isn't it? So you immediately then know there's something different about this. If you hadn't already noticed, it looks like a present.
Yeah, and that's there to kind of cut through all of that, you know, the fats in the meats and the fat in the pastry as well. It just gives a little sharpness to it.
There is a sharpness, but there's a sweetness to it as well, which goes really beautifully with the pork. What have you done with the pork then? So when you say outdoor bred, you mean kind of, what does that mean?
Yeah, so we, our outdoor bred pork, we use different cuts in there, and each cut is adding to the flavour and the texture of the pie. So we'll have used some shoulder in there for the lean, meaty part, and then we'll have added some belly and fat, which adds to the succulence of the pie. And especially when you're including things like chicken within the pie, it also helps feed the chicken and not make the chicken too dry.
Have you put chicken in this pie?
Uh-huh. And there's also some smoked bacon in there as well.
It's got beautiful flavours, really rich, and like you say, lots of different textures to the pork there. The pastry's interesting. It's quite dark, the pastry, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is our hot watercress pastry. We have glazed it with egg yolk to give it a nice mahogany colour, which gives it a real nice crust to the pastry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer that pastry should be dark. Kate used the word mahogany there. That's exactly how I describe pie pastry should be. Bring out flavor, it's caramelization, right? So, yeah, I mean, you know, those sort of, I don't want to sound too bad, but those sort of insipid pork, like sausage rolls sometimes you see, which are like almost white in color. Yeah, throw them in the bin. It should be like, you know, pastry should be dark and have some flavour.
Yeah, I mean, this pastry looks gorgeous. It looks like it's been in Barbados for 2 weeks. It's got this lovely, beautiful bronze glow to it. And I noticed when you cut into it, it's sort of a little tiny bit of sort of beautiful juices had oozed out of this bit here, which just adds to the look of the whole thing. Just absolutely glorious. Artisan. Exactly.
Hold on a second. This is really interesting. So what, Kate, what do you call that?
Artisan.
No. When it leaks out.
Boil out.
The boil out. This is pie terminology we're onto here. We get really technical.
Cool, go for it.
So when you do like the pie awards and stuff like that, boil out is something that you want, correct? A little bit.
Yeah, it depends who's judging.
Oh, you see, it's really interesting.
Oh, I saw that as absolutely a good thing.
Yeah, me too.
Like this has been really well made. Somebody's thought this through so that this is where the juices, you know, I just thought that looked incredible.
It's like on a mac and cheese, right? You want to see like the cheese bubbling down the sides, right? You don't want it clean. And it makes it, because you look at it and you're like, oh, that looks tasty.
I mean, it still looks absolutely perfect. It's just a tiny little bit of glistening. I love it.
But also just to mention as well, while we're talking about the pastry, the bake penetration of the pie, this pie is, we know it's well baked because by the colour of it, but we also know it's well baked, which is really key for a pork pie. The bake penetration, it's perfectly baked. It's 50-50. So you've got a little bit of white and a little bit of the dark on the outside.
I love it. Bake penetration.
Oh, you mean on the actual pastry side itself?
The actual pastry,
oh, yes, you can see that.
It means that it's got a lovely bake compared to other pies which could potentially be doughy. It's really good pastry and a really well baked pie.
I think the thing that's impressive for me is that the jelly and the filling goes all the way up, even right in the middle, and meets the top of the pie. So you haven't got that huge gap you sometimes get where you feel like you've been slightly shortchanged because you bought a bubble. There's nothing. Look, it goes all the way up absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, but you do want that sort of nice even layer of jelly all around, and that's part of pie history as well, right? It's that going way back to the preservation of meat.
Yeah,
is what jelly was part of. So I want to see that when I buy a pork pie or a large Christmas show-stopping pie. I want to see like a nice, beautiful cut through where it's layered and you see that jelly and then the meat and the pastry.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. So where can you buy it? How much does it cost?
Well, there's some different options. I'm glad you asked. So you can buy it already now. You can pre-order it on porkpie.co.uk. That's porkpie.co.uk.
Lovely.
Or you can get it. There'll be some selected Waitrose, and also Fortnum and Mason will be stocking it, and that is from the 19th of December.
Oh, very exclusive.
Very exclusive.
And how long till?
It's about a week.
About a week. Okay, so you've got to be quick if you're in that part of London.
Yeah. So either secure your pie now, porkpie.co.uk, or you can treat yourself to a trip into London and go to Fortnum's.
Yeah, that does sound quite fun. And how much did you say it was?
So it will be retailing around, it's just over £40, £45. Yeah.
£45. Okay, amazing. And an excellent option. Quite nice thing to take to someone's house as well if they've offered to host some random, the arbitrary days between Christmas and New Year where no one knows their name or who they are.
Yes.
Those kind of things where someone said they'll cook and you're so grateful to them. You could just turn up with one of those and just make the whole day so much easier for them.
Yeah, it's a lovely idea.
It's a good gift, I think, and I imagine it lasts a fair amount of time, being that it's
absolutely
encased in pastry and looks beautiful.
Yeah, and you're right. There's enough. There's enough there to feed a small army, right? So, yeah, I'd be very happy if someone brought that to my house.
So, Calum, how did you end up working with Katie at Dickinson and Morris?
Yeah, so it was this sort of collaboration that came through, but mostly if in a very base element, it's a love of pies.
Yeah.
Right. We both have this incredible passion for what we do, and wanting to learn from each other. Katie and her team wanted to see my like smaller sort of artisan side of working, where we would be producing 100 pies a day. I would love to see how her and her team would develop pies for thousands of pies a day, so that we can share knowledge. And really it just started off like that, this lovely organic way, and then we started to work together and sort of do designs together. We have this incredible period, which is probably my favorite period of the year, where we exchange pies. So we're posting pies to each other backwards and forwards.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Pies that you've made.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, fine.
So
not just random pies that you bought.
And feeding, but no, exactly. Yeah. Just a bit weird, isn't it? But yeah, it's the feeding back to each other of okay, I think it needs a bit more salt, or it needs something to cut through the fat. And yeah, for me, it's like the most exciting time. For my wife, less exciting, because she sees these big boxes arriving, thinking it's something for her, and no, it's another pie for
Not
me.
Amazon this time. That's amazing. Well, the lovely people at Fortnum & Masons actually sent us a few different jars of things that they have curated. I think this is one of their hampers, where you can get the show-stopping pie with a couple of different things that you can taste with it. So I wondered if you guys wanted to taste some of these.
Definitely.
So there's some caramelized onion and rosemary. Love to hear how you think it goes together.
And these are all Fortnum products, right?
These are all Fortnum products, yeah, which I think they've
Fancy.
got a beautiful hamper with a collection. This is piccalilli. Can't beat a piccalilli, can you?
Yeah. I'm going to jump ahead here. I think the piccalilli is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I do too. Because this is realistically, these are the different things you're going to be eating with this pie. Obviously, it's beautifully well curated and it doesn't need anything with it, but let's be honest, it's after Christmas. You're going to have cheese everywhere, you're going to have piccalilli and other things.
Yeah, and actually Stilton's a really nice thing to eat with something like this as well, right? And there is a historical connection to that, right? Yeah. I mean, it's geographical rather than historical. Do you want to explain that?
I mean, it's made not far from.
It's made nearby, isn't it?
It's made very nearby. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're eating geographically things that are produced very close to each other.
I love that. You can't beat a bit of Stilton. This is a good one. This is their potted blue Stilton. Comes in a beautiful pottery kind of jar, I think the word is. I can see that. That is nice with the pork pie. Mm. I'm actually shoving all three things together onto a spoon.
Oh, the piccalilli's great with it. A little bit, right? Not too much. But that is delicious. Fortnum's have knocked it out the park.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can't really go wrong there, can you?
Is that okay if I just eat this whole thing?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool.
I know, I'm just sitting here munching away, completely forgetting that I'm actually on the radio and need to keep talking.
That Stilton has really surprised me.
Mm.
Has it? Mm. In an enjoyable way?
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's a nice Stilton. You're normally a Stilton fan.
Yeah.
It's very creamy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. What else would you guys recommend you have with it? If you're going to have a drink with it, for example, what would you go for?
I think like a dark beer is quite good.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, like that sort of like quite chocolatey stouts are nice with something like this.
Very rich and warming. Feels like you need a good fire and a Labrador.
Mm.
A good chunk of this.
Or even a port.
Yeah, in your PJs with a bit of port maybe at the end of the night. Yeah.
What do you have with it when you're tasting it? You're going to say like water, right?
Yeah, it's just water. Yeah, I'd worry if Katie was drinking port in the kitchen, but I think when we're tasting it, that process is water, so we can taste all the elements. But we should maybe add that into the process. The final stages, we just get you leathered whilst you eat the pie, so it's a more realistic Christmas experience.
I think it should be. I think you've got to put these sort of circumstantial things into the mix.
Yeah.
Your team actually also have brought with you a beautiful. Is this your pork pie? This is like your
Melton Mowbray.
Your Melton Mowbray famous pork pie.
Pie for any occasion.
Pie for any occasion, which I'm sure I've had this one before. How beautiful does that look?
Yeah, that's amazing. A great pie.
Again, great filling all the way up to the top. Love that. Don't like to feel like I've been shortchanged with a pie. Bit of pie?
Thank you.
Pie for the pie man.
Look at that.
Just in case you haven't had any pie yet this morning.
Have I? I have actually had a bit of pie already. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty unusual if I didn't during the day.
Can you tell me about this pie? What makes this pie so special?
The rich hot water crust pastry, for sure. Again, this pie is baked absolutely lovely. It's got a real nice crisp crust to the outside. As you can see in the meat filling, it's also, this is a mixture of shoulder cuts in there. It's and as you can see, it's got some like chunky diced shoulder in there, really super lean.
Yeah, you can see the texture, and you can really taste the texture of chewy bits and softer bits as you're eating it.
Yeah, it's a really meaty pie.
Yeah,
Really meaty pie. And then it's got the traditional bone stock jelly, and then finished with hand crimping, which is all done by hand in our bakery.
is it? Gives it a beautiful artisanal. So all of them. Sorry, I just actually processed that. All of the ones that you sell in the Waitroses and supermarkets and.
Under the Dickinson and Morris brand, all the pies this size are hand crimped.
Wow.
You'll see some retailers do have their own versions of hand crimped Melton Mowbrays.
Yeah, I mean, this is is it PGI? Am I saying that right? PGI protected status, and
Yep.
it's a pie. I love that. Right, this is something that is part of our national food history.
So PGI standing for Protected Geographic. What's the I? I can't remember. I should know.
I don't know. That's terrible, isn't
Do
it?
you know?
Yeah.
Indicator.
Indicator. Thank you.
Protected Geographic Indicator. So that means that nobody can make a Melton Mowbray pie anywhere except Melton Mowbray.
Under certain conditions as well.
Yeah, the surrounding area.
The surrounding area.
Surrounding area.
Yeah.
So there's certain miles around Melton Mowbray that it needs to be made. And also the ingredients that go into it.
Okay, yeah. So there's certain conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Because we traditionally, the British haven't been that brilliant at registering things, not like the French who've protected Champagne and they've protected all these different regions. We've not necessarily done that. But I think we're catching up now, aren't we?
No, but I also think it's just so like, I think it's something that's very indicative of us as a nation. And it's like you said, Champagne, France, you know, Parmesan for Italy, and then pork pie for the UK.
Pork pie.
I love it. Yeah. And but it's something that, you know, we should be hugely proud of. We've got 600 years of written pie history in the UK, something that's been a constant throughout our history, and it's on the up again. You know, if you look through history at those sort of those years, those centuries of pie work, it's gone from being a peasant food to being the height of fashion and served at royal banquets, and so it's had these like peaks and troughs. And then I feel like the industrialization of food in the last sort of 100 years, that hit it badly.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing pie making just shooting back up again to being an elevated status. We're going to make the world sort of watch pie making, I'm telling you.
And why do you think there's been a resurgence in pie eating, particularly?
People appreciate food more. Okay, people are appreciating singular ingredients and singular items more. And it's a dish which has a national pride in it as well. But that takes a little bit of reinstating before. So, you know, if somebody says, oh, a pie shouldn't cost more than, you know, £2, that's wild, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's this huge piece of meat, right, from beautiful pigs. And so, I think we're seeing a shift in the view now of what the value is of food nationally. And with that, pie making sort of more respected as that changes. And, you know, more and more people are taking time to make pies and make exciting looking pies as well.
I agree with you. And after all, the pie that costs £2, you don't want to know what's happened to the meat that has been used to make a pie like that.
Yeah.
It's
right?
probably not been bred in the sort of way that you would want to think it's been looked
treated.
after
Yeah.
or treated. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think there's those things that come with those kind of price tags that just immediately alarm bells go off in my head. And I love meat, but I am quite funny about the provenance of it and where it's come from and that kind of stuff. I'm
Rightly
quite
so.
careful about it. And yeah, like you say, a really low price tag on a pork pie is just run away.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we should, all of these things like this, we should put more value into them mentally. We should be like, I mean, I do want to have one, but I want to have a really good one.
And enjoy it and just have a small slice and know that it's really good quality and it's come from a really great place. So for the future of you two and your kind of pie-related creativity, what can we expect to see?
Well, we're fairly fluid with things, so it depends on what's happening around the world as well. So we did a coronation pie, which was really exciting, that project, right?
It was, yeah. It was a lovely pie.
Yeah.
Pie for the king. What kind of a pie was it?
Oh, it was pork, Madeira, and pheasant.
Pheasant.
And chestnut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels good. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was kind of the king does enjoy some wild game, so that was a lot of the thinking behind that. And and again, the same thing with the Madeira. We kind of looked at things that he enjoyed. And for the design, we did. It was based on, you always see in these coronation photos. We looked at old coronation photos of the Queen where she was sat with this. I'm going to totally get this wrong.
Scepter?
The scepter, is it? Ball and scepter. So
I'm going to nod because I haven't a clue.
orb, the orb and scepter.
Well done.
Yeah, and I was like, do you reckon we can make it look like the orb? And
Oh, yeah, nice.
yeah, so we kind of floated that idea and we did lots of drawings based on that. And guess what? Yeah, Katie and the team nailed it. So that was a very cool
Did it
project.
roll around in the box? Did you have to create a special box to hold it?
No, it was like a domed one.
Yeah,
domed
it
one.
was on a pie base.
Okay, fine.
But we got that beautiful decoration on it and stuff like that. For both of us, again, is really interesting because it teaches us new techniques, right? We have to learn or create new techniques, which will filter into the rest of pie making in the UK as well, because people see us do it and then say, "Oh, we'll do that as well."
Well, this is how innovation has happened for hundreds of years, isn't it?
Yep.
It was always a royal event that somebody created the special beer or the special whatever, and they pushed the limits of what they normally did and went, "Whoa, that was really good. We're going to have to do that again."
Yeah. So in the future, I think we're definitely going to do more celebration pies together, different designs. Each time we'll just try to push the boat out a little bit.
That sounds really exciting. I can't wait to see that. So for anyone interested in getting one of the festive showstoppers, you can go to porkpie.co.uk, selected Waitrose, and the Fortnum & Mason website after the 19th of December.
Oh, and in store as well.
Yes.
Oh, and in store in Melton Mowbray.
In Fortnum & Mason.
In Fortnum & Mason.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's on the website now for Fortnum & Mason and then in store from the 19th.
Ah, in store from the 19th. Brilliant. Well,
You can see it in the wild.
yeah, exactly. In its natural habitat.
Yeah.
Well, it was amazing to have you guys on. Thank you so much, Katie Curtis, for coming in from Dickinson and Morris. And thank you very much to Calum as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely fab to see you guys. You've been listening to Food Rebels, and thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've got some inspiration for your Christmas table. Food Rebels is available on radio stations around the UK. You can also listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and Audible. Please remember to subscribe and rate us 5 stars. My producer keeps telling me to say that. It makes a huge difference to our podcast. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you taste the rebellion.